morning, everyone. Welcome to the Dawn Patrol. I'm Cliff Krieger, your host. Bill Johnson sitting next to me, professor up at UMass Lowell. We'll ask him some financial questions today. We have Eileen Delrossi on the phone. How are you, Eileen?
Good morning. I'm good. How's everybody? Morning, Bill. Morning, John. Morning, Cliff.
Good morning.
So, you say you got windburned yesterday on a walk?
Yeah. And my face is super, super, super red. Yeah.
And you say it's 20 degrees up there on Christian Hill.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and we have our producer, John McDonough.
Good morning.
Yesterday was Pearl Harbor Remembrance Day. And when I looked over the weekend, national debt was still going up, $38+ trillion. Yeah. So, in 1660, it's a long time ago, a woman, and they don't even know who, either Margaret Hughes or Anne Marshall, appears in an English public stage for the first time in the role of Desdemona in a production of Shakespeare's play Othello. Now, I'm not sure I believe that's the first time any woman ever played anything anywhere in England, but this was a big step in terms of recognizing women and their abilities. 1854, the Apostolic Constitution, Ineffable Deus, Pope Pius IX proclaims the dogma up. Hang on a second.
That'll be Mike.
Hi, Mike.
Good morning. I was waiting for.
Well, we forgot to send it out.
Okay, no problem.
Anyway,
It's a foggy Monday, Mike. Sorry.
the doctrine of the Immaculate Conception holds that the Blessed Virgin was conceived free of original sin. So this is a holy day of obligation. Immaculate, you can go to Mass at 9 o'clock. Saints has a Mass at noon. St. Rita's at 4. And I think Holy Trinity at 5. I don't know about
What's the
any
holy
others.
day today?
Immaculate Conception?
Okay. That was a fast birth, wasn't it? She was immaculately conceived. On
This is,
December 8th, and Jesus was born on the 25th.
but it's not Jesus' conception we're talking about, if I'm not
I think
mistaken.
it is.
You know, Bill's right. This is Mary's conception. She was conceived without sin.
So this is from her parents.
Yeah.
Do we have their names?
By tradition.
No, but it's just important. Shouldn't we know their names?
Is
I don't know
it
their
Anne or
name.
Catherine?
I don't know.
It's either Anne or Catherine.
Yeah.
One is Mary's mother and one is Mary's grandmother.
How about her
Apologies to the Roman Catholic
dad? How
viewers.
about her dad?
Do we know Mary's father?
I'll ask good old Google.
Stanislaus.
No.
No?
He's much later.
Okay. So jumping ahead a little bit, 1980 on this day, John Lennon was murdered by Mark David Chapman in front of the Dakota Hotel in New York City. I remember that. That turns out to be a long time ago. And in 2019, first confirmed case of COVID-19 in China.
I remember that, and that's a long time ago.
Yeah. Eli Whitney was born in 1765. He invented the cotton gin. He died in 1825.
Mm.
I hope you come home with a wheelbarrow full of dough.
In 1861, William Durant, an American businessman, was born. He founded General Motors and Chevrolet. So
Didn't he have enough to do?
he did. Light lived in 1947. 1925, Sammy Davis Jr. was born. American actor, singer, dancer. And I remember his quip. Well, I didn't see it, but I've heard it on tape, when he apparently confused Dean Martin and Frank Sinatra, and someone in the audience called him on it, and he says, "They all look alike to me."
Wow.
It's brilliant.
He was a pretty good guy. Actor, singer, dancer, quick on his feet. In 1978, Golda Meir passed away. She was the fourth Prime Minister of Israel. I think that she went to Israel. She was born in Ukraine, but left Minnesota for Israel. And in 2006, Lilton Martha Tilton passed away, American singer, born in 1915. And in 2016, John Glenn, American astronaut and senator, first American to go into space, was born. And he passed away in 1921.
Born in 21.
I'm sorry, born in 21. It's awfully early in the morning.
Happy Monday.
Yeah. So, Mike, how are things down there in the Tampa Bay area?
Well, we had quite the rain yesterday, most of the afternoon and evening. It really poured. Well, we haven't had any rain in a while, so we probably needed it. The weather's been okay down here. Kathy told me she was reading last night that not too far away from us there was a club or a bar restaurant where they had a shooting and they had the cops there and that. So, and people were dropped off at the hospital. So there was a little bit of excitement here in the area last night. But
My first choice would
been
be
going good. Everybody's got their Christmas decorations up. I should send John a picture of our place at night. I'll have to send you a picture of how it looks with our lights at night.
Yeah, please do.
So my first guess would be Ybor City, but do you know where this shooting took place?
No, this shooting took place closer to us, not to within. This wasn't in Tampa. We're about 30 minutes southwest of Tampa, in Largo. This was in the Largo area, not in Tampa.
Ooh. So, but you brought up all that rain. I saw a headline over the weekend. This will be the worst winter in 12 years. And
so what I've been seeing, you've had some pretty interesting weather already.
Yeah.
And don't forget, it's Trump's fault.
And don't forget, winter hasn't even started yet.
Not officially.
Okay. Well, I will grant you it's Trump's fault. So
You guys are very negative on Donald Trump.
That's good to hear.
the good thing about Donald Trump is he absorbs all this negativity that we need a place to store. So,
He creates his fair share, too.
yes.
He seems to me the person, he knows people are going to go after him, and he just I'm going to just do what I planned on doing no matter what, because they're not going to change their mind no matter what I do. So I've met people in life like that before. They just forge ahead, knowing that people are just going to give them garbage all the time, and they're just like, nope, I've got a agenda. I'm going to get to it, and they don't let that distract them. Whether everything he's doing is what we want is another whole discussion. But he already knows that it doesn't matter what he does. He's not going to please everybody. And, that's an interesting for a, quote, politician. Because usually politicians want everybody to like them all the time so they can get reelected. So he's an anomaly in the what's been going on.
Mike, I think we've seen a shift, though, even since the 90s, that politicians in one party or another, they take some pleasure now in actually upsetting people on the other side of the aisle. And I think traditionally, before the 90s, I don't think that was the case. So
I agree with you. I agree with you, Bill. I think, it's with Trump, it's not so much about the people on the other side of the aisle. It's just like he doesn't care what anybody is doing, which is not typical of a politician. It's just he's just different. I didn't say it was good or bad, but he's different compared to what I've seen in politicians normally.
Yeah, he seems to have some strange expectations of people. Reporters, he called that reporter Miss Piggy. I don't think he just did it just to do it, but I think that he had expectations and she failed to meet them. On the other hand, he pardoned Henry Cuellar, a U.S. rep from Texas, Democrat, and Henry Cuellar is marching on as a Democrat, and now he's disappointed. I think he shouldn't have been. I think he should have just accepted that that's the way Henry Cuellar is.
I don't know who Henry Cuellar is. Who's Henry Cuellar?
You don't know who Henry Cuellar is?
Donald Trump has pardoned thousands of people. I don't think I could be expected to know every person that he's pardoned.
No, I was just quoting Cliff. He likes to have that dummy line that goes out there. You don't know what's the guy's name?
Henry Cuellar.
Henry Cuellar is?
I don't.
Texas Democrat in the U.S. House of Representatives, and he crossed Biden, and right after that, Biden's DOJ indicted him and his wife.
So I think you're attributing or implying something that makes me uncomfortable, which is he did something a politician didn't do, and therefore he was incarcerated and convicted of a crime. That makes me uncomfortable. I don't know the whole story. I already told you I don't know who this guy is. But the implication, I don't like that.
It's called weaponizing the government.
Yeah, and I don't want that to happen. And if it's happening, we need to know about it. And if it's not happening, we shouldn't assume it is.
The media falls down on their duty. And
Granted.
that continues to happen. Thank you, No Balls Channel 5. Thank you, No Balls Channel 4. Thank you, No Balls. All your news stations. WBZ. Thank you, No Balls.
There are many journalists who are doing good work.
Really?
Despite being called piggy.
Do they get...
Despite being called piggy,
Do they
which
get
I think is
anything
abominable.
Do they get anything on the air? The many journalists that are doing well?
Sometimes,
You don't
probably.
see them on Channel 4, 5, 7, 11, do you?
So I don't know Channel 4, 5, 7, or 11.
Well, where do you watch your news?
I don't watch a lot of news. I read it more.
So you're reading yesterday's news?
Okay, so I get my news with a delay of one day,
Yep.
I guess would be your point. So I don't know anything that happened this morning. I would grant you that.
Okay.
But tomorrow I'll know something that happened today.
You don't know what happened yesterday.
Sure.
I watch my TV news. I start off with Channel 5, and then I go over to usually Fox. Then I do 10, do Channel 7. What do you got, Cliff?
Hi, Fru.
Hi, Chief.
Yeah, we've got Fru with us.
All right.
No, is there a show today? Because I didn't get any message from John.
There is a show. You're live. and John forgot to send it out.
I texted him, but obviously he didn't get it. So sorry, Fru, I
No.
texted you.
No, I didn't get it. Could you send it to me by email?
No,
Let me see.
no, Fru, we're not doing Zoom today.
What?
Wait, tell him he can't hear me, Cliff.
We're just doing telephone today, Fru.
Okay. All right. So I should just hang on.
Well, you're on now.
Yeah. You have been introduced. So, we had an arrest in Woodbridge, Virginia, regarding the 5 January 2021 pipe bomber, Mr. Brian Cole Jr., in his 30s. And I'm not sure we know all we know about this. I mean, Jake Tapper of CNN, who didn't have to say anything, said he was a Caucasian. Maybe just because he lives in a very nice cul-de-sac in Woodbridge, Virginia. But he's not.
He's not what? He's not a Caucasian?
No.
How do you know he's
Fru.
not
They
a
even have to
Caucasian?
say that when they do a report. Why don't they just say this person? This foments again about the bias and divisiveness. I don't know why they have to do that.
Yeah.
Because all they had to do is just show a picture of him. It didn't take long for people to have a picture of the guy. So, that's all they had to do.
So, well, that's right. Saturday, the paper said he was a Trump supporter who thought the election was rigged. Then his grandmother says he's non-political, autistic, with computer skills. So, I think I want to wait for the book. But does anybody else have any thoughts on this?
Who are you talking about, Cliff?
The pipe bomber from 4 or 5 years ago?
I ain't talking about him today. Hey, Fru, you have too many audios. Tell him he's got too many audio sources going.
Fru?
Yes.
Yeah, John thinks you got too many audios going.
I have just one. I'm on my phone.
Okay. So, go ahead, Bill. You were going to say something.
I have just one. I don't have a TV. I have just my phone going on.
Okay. Well, it sounds good now.
So, just as a clarification, these are the pipe bombs that on January 6th were left outside the Capitol or one of the...
The DNC and RNC headquarters.
Okay. Yeah, I knew there was something with but they didn't explode.
No.
Okay. Of course, it's against the law to leave a pipe bomb somewhere, an explosive
What
device.
is your question, please?
I just thought if anybody has any thoughts on this pipe bomber, I mean, it's too much. There's a lot of confusing information, and a lot of questions like, why did it take this long to figure out who it was?
That's a long time.
Well, the media. I mean, if you observe the media, unless you are one-sided, you see that if there's anything, any crime, any bad thing that affects a minority, a black or a brown person, the media immediately put their picture out before they say anything. And if that same crime, no matter how horrendous it is, if it affects any Caucasian, they will not. You already know they will not issue that. That is the bias of the media. And I think currently, because of social media, this thing is coming out. People used to believe in what the media said, and the media manipulated and controlled people so long that, I mean, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me continuously, shame on me.
Yeah. Well, you're right. When I was young, I believed everything the media told me. But
It was much harder to fact check the media even in going back to the 1980s. It was very hard to get your own story independent of whatever ABC was saying.
Well, it was impossible. Before the internet, it was impossible. You had the Lowell Sun and Channel 4, 5, and 7.
Yeah, I don't know that I would say it's impossible, but it was extremely difficult, certainly.
Well, how did you get another news source back in the 80s, Bill?
Well, you could wait for a newspaper to come out the next day.
Which newspaper? Would you get them all? So the New York Times, San Francisco?
There certainly are people who read multiple newspapers.
You.
In the 1980s, I was not even reading comic books in the 1980s.
Okay. So the 1990s?
me. Telegraph and the Times.
Which Telegraph?
Not New York Times.
The Lawrence Telegraph?
London.
So you got the London newspaper. How many days old was it?
I picked up the train station, so I would say
The next day.
it was probably pitted overnight, and I picked it up in the day.
So you don't. So it likely was the same day. Newspaper,
International Herald Tribune.
but at least 12 hours old.
Yeah.
Okay. And what was the other newspaper you read?
Telegraph, Times, International Herald Tribune,
Where is that published?
Daily American. International Herald Tribune, no longer published, was published in Paris.
So, how many hours a day did you spend reading the newspaper, Cliff?
Oh, I don't know, 30 minutes.
It took you 30 minutes to read 4 newspapers.
Well, different newspapers depending on where I lived. But yeah, 3 newspapers, yeah.
Now, Cliff, I think you're exaggerating the story. On this
He,
day,
he never said he read the entire newspaper.
this day-
4 different newspapers.
on this day, December, what is it, the 9th, December 9th.
8th.
Thank you. Cliff loves to correct.
I said it first.
Are you one of those champions? Cliff absolutely loves it. Cliff will stop the priest. Father, it's the 8th. December 8th, 1990. What newspapers were you reading?
Well, so far today,
No, 1990. We're talking
oh,
way back. machine.
1990. Where the heck was I in 1990?
Okay,
Oh, I was reading the Washington Post.
that's it.
Yeah.
So you didn't have a backup. It was in the Washington Post. It was cast in stone in your mind.
No. But it was published in the Washington Post.
In Lowell, if it was in the Sun, it was gospel. If it wasn't in the Sun, it was fable. The Sun was it.
Oh, let's see, maybe. Even when I moved up to Lowell, I would read the Washington Post on Sundays.
Now, in 2025, most of the news migrates off of 1010 winds in New York City. That's where most of today's news stories are going to be. They grow out of that radio station. They're 24/7. Every broadcaster around the world listens to 1010 winds. And if you listen to 1010 winds today, they will give you some news stories for tomorrow.
Yeah, I think, though, a lot of the world actually thinks the Beeb is more the source of all this stuff.
Now, just a second. We're going to go around the room with that one, Cliff. Eileen, would you ask Eileen what the Beeb is?
Eileen,
Don't help her. That's the question.
John, don't delay the show. Eileen,
What-
what's
what
the
is
Beeb? What is the Beeb as a news source?
Oh, Justin Bieber. I know that.
Okay. Now, move right along. How about Mike?
What's that?
Pick
About
me.
the bee?
The Beeb. Let's get to Fru. Fru, tell him what the Beeb is.
Oh, no, I don't know.
Pick me! I know what the Beeb is.
You thinking it's Justin Bieber?
No, go ahead.
I'm sorry to say he's referring to the BBC, the British Broadcasting Corporation.
Bush House.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Another nickname of the Bush House.
Yeah, it's no longer the Bush
You
House.
don't know what the Bush House is? Oh, Cliff, come on. Let's knock off this insider of baseball, please.
I'm not familiar with that term, the Bush House.
He'll use it next week. Next time you hear, you'll hear Bush House. I got that out of the Bush House. Bill, there's plenty. Nobody
I'm
else is
familiar
coming,
with
so
the Bush
just dig
House.
in if you want more. We'll have you buzzing around the room before you leave.
Excellent. So I will say, when I started following media actively, I did subscribe to both American and European writing because there is a different tone. American journalism is extraordinarily American-centric, and the world is much bigger than the United States, and there are many things that occur outside the United States that affect us here, but I don't think all American journalism covers that very well in the media. Certainly if you get to the right media, I think it's okay, but a lot of it is incredibly American-centric, and I think Fru would definitely agree with that statement.
Go ahead.
You are very right, because there are always two types of two media. The one that is sent for local consumption within America. There are two CNN, there are two Al Jazeera, even there are two BBCs, there are two VOA. One that is tailored to the American people, which shields them from knowing what is going on around them. Make you listen to the big propaganda that is going on here. Most Americans who are listening outside, those are the ones who are agitating. Then they call them rebels, and then people here will call them. If you don't like it, go where you come from. They don't know that. They think that the same CNN that we watch here is the same CNN that someone will watch when they are in the islands or when they are in Africa. No. Even you go to American embassies, they watch the CNN that we watch locally here. People don't know that.
I'd just like to add in that I believe that the reason it's so tailored to people in the U.S. is because, unfortunately, a lot of people in the U.S. don't travel ever outside the U.S. So they're not even concerned or want to know about what's going on in the rest of the world. Now, maybe some of that's changing a little bit now with social media and all that. People can see more of what's going on outside the U.S. But like I said, I've met people that never even left their hometown, that they've lived there all their lives and never traveled even to another state. So I think that because a lot of U.S. citizens are so parochial in what they view things as, that that's why the media tailors it just here for the U.S. mostly.
And the media tailors us because an ignorant population is the kind of population that the politics can control.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you on that, Fru, at all. So
I
that's
think,
why I wanted to throw that in there.
I think that Mike's got a point. Like, I would say the vast majority of people in the United States didn't pick up on the headline that there was a coup in Benin and it was suppressed.
Bill, will you
But
give Cliff one of those microphones to your far right?
His is okay.
It's
yeah,
all
it
lit
just
up,
died.
lit up like a Christmas tree. If you turn on its side, Cliff, I'll take its batteries later.
All right.
I can hear you through Eileen's mic.
It caught my attention, but then I've got in my when they did my DNA, there's a little strand reaching back to Benin. But who else? I don't think very many people.
Welcome, brother.
Yeah, thank you. But most people.
Jake Tapper thinks you're Caucasian.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Hey, Bill, you want to read these two? One
Yeah.
of them directed to you.
I'll start with the one up on top. The media back in the 1980s had a spine, then a program called Kids Are People Too. Kids Are People Too was on, and everything became feelings and unicorns.
Next one.
Okay, so I'll read exactly what the next one said, and then I'll respond to it. Does the doctor, I presume he's speaking of me, he or she, does the doctor think it's okay for the media to label President Trump as Hitler, even though he has Jewish grandkids? So I think I'd like to see the exact labeling. Of course, people have said this, and we live in a country with a freedom of speech, and it's protected by the First Amendment. Anybody can say whatever they want. And so I would take issue with saying the media has labeled Trump as Hitler, in that I'd like to see consistently, I don't know, the New York Times saying Donald Trump, also known as Hitler, or who everyone says is Hitler. What I've seen is people insinuating or implying that some of his behaviors are similar to Adolf Hitler. For instance, him saying he wanted loyal generals like Hitler had. He's made these statements in the past, but I don't see the media as saying he's, I wish I had the phrase in front of me, the media labeling him as Hitler. With respect to his Jewish grandkids, I don't think that's a material consideration. I think it's insensitive for someone to do that, of course, in that the Jewish people have a particularly unique history in that area, but because of the Holocaust. But I think it's insensitive. But we do live in a country with freedom of speech, so individuals can say what they want.
Yeah, but don't you think freedom of
To a
speech is
point, though,
being...
Bill, they can say what they want as long as it's not endangering the health and safety of somebody else. Like, you can't yell fire in a crowded movie theater when there's no fire.
Sure, but we're not.
To a point.
I'm not defending making death threats on the President of the United States.
Right.
I'm not.
Right.
Of course, there are limits to our speech, but the courts have been very clear that we have a lot of discretion in, what we call people, what we say about people, and those.
Is it
kinds
okay
of
to
things.
give the president, the governor...
That's part of the having a democracy.
Yeah, it is.
I mean,
And-
that's the way of democracy. That's, you got to be, I think the real issue is whether people listen to what other people are saying and then make informed decisions. The media, more than saying that Trump is Hitler, it's more about that anybody that supports him is a fascist or a Nazi. That's where I have issues with the media using that narrative.
Well, I would push. Go ahead, Fru. Sorry.
I was saying that the media always want to give a dog a bad name so that they can kill the dog. When it is a foreigner, when it is out of this country, what are we talking? Sometimes we keep our mouth shut and give the media the power. It is only now that people are rising up. The media has really been indomitable and shoving all these things through our throats. Those who read that there, as Bill said, or is it Mike? These people have not left America. Some have not even visited Washington, D.C. But they sit and talk about the whole world and read what they give them to read. When you use your own mind, the next day you are gone.
Mike, you want to...
No, I agree with you, Fru, that people are finally saying, hey, wait a minute, this makes no sense, some of this stuff, on both sides of the aisle.
Bill, you want to read this?
Sure, I would like to read it and then respond to it if I may. So the viewer wrote in and said, you just said that Trump using piggy is unacceptable, but Hitler is okay. So what I said was that it's unacceptable for Trump to call someone piggy. What he said was to someone asking him a question, quiet piggy, and he said it in a very dismissive, very disgusting way. And what I also said is that he said it in a very dismissive, disgusting way.
Next text.
Are you saying that person is a piggy?
I didn't even hear it.
Okay. Then I don't see how you can have an informed
I
opinion.
think the way that
Okay, so moving on to the Hitler, I have to get back to the comment. We live in a free country that means people can use speech how they want. That means people can call call the president Hitler, but someone in authority has to be extremely careful with what they say. And that's really what I mean. Of course, it's not great for anyone to degrade another person, but if someone is acting in a way and they want to, someone else wants to label them, I can't control anyone's speech any more than anyone else.
So if while you're speaking, if I get up and I give you a screaming at, I become a heckler in your audience, should I get the microphone? Should you send a microphone down to me so my heckling gets out to everybody?
So this
Because everybody
is
stood in line to listen to Bill Johnson. They didn't stand in line to listen to me. That's what aggravates me. These hecklers steal the stage. They steal the camera frame just because they hate Trump. And that's the media for you.
So this is your show or Cliff's show. You're the producer, and this is Cliff's show. So I think you and Cliff have control over this. If you guys say, you know what, Bill, I don't want to hear that anymore, that's fine. I think your case of a heckler, of course, if you give a heckler a microphone and you want them to be heard, I think that's acceptable. And if the people controlling the presentation don't want them to be heard, they can control that as well. There was another, someone wrote in something else that we should read as well. The View / most of Hollywood call him Hitler. I don't know that we can comment on that other than I don't know how you would know most, but certainly there are people.
Well, I guess the audience is saying, is it okay to call President Biden anything other than President Biden? Is it okay to call President Bush anything other than President Bush?
So I can tell you my own personal
I can remember they
approach.
called Clinton Hitler.
I could tell you my own personal approach, which is these are people who have served in offices of respect, and I'm very careful the way I refer to them. But not everybody feels that way. And we live in a country where speech we don't like, we should want to protect. That's what I would
Well,
say.
I can almost guarantee you, if you called the leader of Cameroon Hitler on Cameroon media, you'd be arrested and taken away.
John, that is your narrative. People insult those guys. They call them names. You are saying that because sometimes you watch it on CNN, because they want to make it anything out of the U.S. Is that way. Those guys are horrible. Whatever is going out there horrible is equally going in here horrible. But we cover it. We sugarcoat it. And when you try to bring it up, they say, oh, go where you came from. And then the very people who are saying that don't even know the branches of government, do not even know the capital cities of their states. But their ignorance gives them that arrogance to speak as if they know all.
Cliff, there are a lot of Fru, there are a lot of undereducated people in the world, and we can't change that. If you don't want to learn, if one doesn't want to learn, it's a free continent. Don't learn. Just remain, as we would call you, stupid.
But don't claim to know when you don't know and go out there and make a fool of yourself. If you don't know, you keep your mouth shut. No one will know it.
There's a comment from the audience here. And
Sure, I'll read this too. It says, what about the church? Is it acceptable for the church to put politics in their churches?
No.
So what I would say about this is if organizations who are churches do this, they are going to disrupt politics, but worse, they're going to disrupt their religious beliefs. And I think that's very problematic. I think churches should be very they should try not to do this. They
Well, there's a
absolutely
church-
should not do this.
Church down Needham Way that's saying ICE took Jesus, Mary, and Joseph out of the stable. And it's wrong. The cardinal called them on and said, take that down. And the media is saying, no, he didn't say. They're going to have a hearing about that today. No, the cardinal already told them, take it down. Why the misreporting on the issue? I'll see if I can find that on the internet.
So,
So I'd like to add in, we keep talking about free speech and people can say what they want, but what people fail to recognize, you can say what you want, but then you got to be willing to deal with the results of what your speech is impacting other people. It's some of the people when they say, well, I can see whatever I want, and that is true, but then they have to realize there could be a result to that. It can be positive, negative, or nothing changes. And I think that's where we run into issues now is that people make a comment and everybody wants to bury them, basically, or cancel them. That's what in today's environment. You made something that we don't like. Well, there may be other people like that. So I think we've lost some of our ability to look at both sides of what's going on. And I don't know how to fix that. But, it just seems that we're with social media and all the other things are very decisive. And then secondly, when you're talking about the church with politics, I grew up Catholic. There's always been politics in churches. They have a wide influence over their congregation. Doesn't matter whether it's Catholics, Baptists, whatever. And I agree with Bill, they should be very careful what they're saying to their congregation, because people look to those ministers or priests for guidance. And what they say, people take to heart, and it could, impact things in a negative way. So I think the less politics, the better.
So I'm sorry.
I was going to say, there's a little misunderstanding here in this photograph. Joseph, Mary, and the baby Jesus were not foreigners
In Bethlehem.
in Bethlehem. They've been told to go down to Cambridge and register for tax purposes, and that's where they were. Now, later, after the three wise men come to visit, which is in January, they get told, hey, you better go hide, because the government's looking for you, not because you're a foreigner, because you're not, but because you might be a threat to the government, and that's when they go to Egypt. And that's different. Now you get a nice issue, but it's over in Egypt. Bill, you were going to say something?
Yeah, it's okay.
Oh, okay. I want to squeeze this in while Fru's still here.
I know what I was going to say.
Go ahead.
The purpose of churches is to speak about eternal things, about people's souls. And I think we have to be, I think churches should be very careful. I think clergy should be very careful. I think these organizations should be very careful allowing the things of this world to contaminate what they're saying. The eternal truths of God are much more important than the day-to-day. And of course, the day-to-day is important and it affects our lives, but mostly we're not talking about people's souls when we're talking about daily politics. So I think churches just have to be very careful keeping those things in
Most
perspective.
churches stay out of politics. In most churches, this is their highest attendance is this time of year.
Fair.
Go ahead, Fru.
I was saying that the church and politics is like hand and glove. If you see, when the church crosses the line and reaches politics, it becomes fire. That is why Napoleon, as a politician, Napoleon Bonaparte, to crown himself, he seized the crown from the Pope and crown himself. That means he is not under the Pope. And also we talk about religion. Some parts of the world, they preach religion based on their own beliefs and think that it is universal around the world. No. And that affects around the world with the impact of colonialism and imperialism. When you conquer the people, you subjugate them to their own way of teaching. You take their language, you take their names. And now, because of all the power, the Roman Empire makes one religion universal and force people to follow it. And if you don't follow that, they say you are practicing voodoo. You are a pagan. So it is in the whims of man, and that man has actually used it to make himself the God. And the preachers are really the tools that they use. Preachers become richer than the poor.
So, Fru, I would point out, I agree with you that religion has often been used for political means. The easy things to point to are things like the First Crusade. There's a lot of cases throughout history where religion has been used for political means, not just by Christians, but by Muslims and by Hindus and by Buddhists and all the major religions, I'm sure, although those are the ones that I can name off the top of my head that have been used for political means. My only point, even though I said churches because the individual wrote in about churches specifically, I would say any religion needs to be extraordinarily careful. Not just, you talked about colonialism. Christianity was also used in ways that we should not be proud of as Christians. But any religion should be extraordinarily careful about allowing political things to creep into its belief structures.
Bill, you want to
I
read this one?
totally agree with you. What I meant about religion is there is no religion that has traveled in foreign land and imposed their authority than Christianity and Islam. And imposed their authority by force, by the barrel of the gun.
You're saying there's no religion that's done this other than Christianity and Islam?
Massively. If you read,
well, I mean, now it's now you're just. I mean, it's a relativistic thing. I don't know. You could say that Islam did it a lot and Christianity did it a lot and other religions did it less.
Let's read,
I don't know.
Let's read this item, and then I want to move on to a new topic for a second.
Why didn't the city of Lowell take over the church next to the old building for expansion of the new high school? Instead, the overpaid of an office building bringing in tax revenue. Jay.
Yeah.
I don't know I certainly don't know all the particulars of this about why that decision was made, so I can't comment on that.
We'll let Eileen think about this for a while. But Fru's going to be running out of here in about 7 minutes. And last Monday, we talked about there's legislation stirring down on Beacon Hill about forming a commission to look at reparations. And so I thought with Bill here, with his financial background, it'd be interesting to think about there are 455,000 black adults in Massachusetts. So let's call it 500,000. If we give them each $10,000 in reparations,
Not enough.
that's $5 billion that we have to tax people for. And John makes the point it's not enough. I agree. I would have thought maybe 25,000, but I'm trying to work with some easy numbers here for a minute. 10,000, that would give a married couple $20,000.
Respectfully, the money's never coming. It's like when Biden promised he's going to forgive tuition. It's a taxpayer-funded idea. So what the government is saying is, do you want to give us $1 million per black person for reparations out of your tax money? Give us $1 million, and we're going to give to every black person in the United States. Now that said, it's tax money. It's not presented very well. So, Bill, do you want to chip in part of this $1 million for reparations?
So the first thing I would like to know is, what is the purpose of the reparations?
No. It's a law now. I've already made it a law.
No, well,
We're
okay,
gonna
so can we come back to, I would like to come back to this issue though, because this is foundational. What are we trying to do? Because
Fund
we
this $1
have,
million. You got to fund the
but
$1 million.
why? I want $1 million. Give me $1 million. I mean, you're not telling me.
He was framing the topic. John came in and lost I lost the train.
Fru,
That's
if
true.
you think you're getting $1 million, you're bananas. Then you're never going to get. This is such falsehood that reparations are coming. I'm sorry to have to break the news to you, but I'm sorry. The government's never going to cough it up.
Can I just say something?
Go ahead.
The amount of big trillions that we are sending to Ukraine, that we are sending to the Middle East, when it comes to something about the people who build this country, 20,000 is even peanuts. And we are talking about taxpayers. That is why you see, listen to Taylor Marjorie Greene and see how she has been vilified. When you start saying the truth about our taxpayers and where our money goes, when Americans are on the street, there's homelessness, there is hunger, there's everything. But these multi-billion armed companies, they are spending it like anything. No one talks about that. But only when they want to talk about the American people, that is where you see the media convincing us to be talking about taxpayers, all this and that. How many times does it really take weapons to go to Ukraine? Is that not American taxpayers' money? I raised my case.
Okay, back to Bill.
Yeah, so one of the things that I think is really important is to try to understand what problem we're trying to solve with this. Are we trying to, just as a for instance, we can look at African Americans in the United States today and say, well, they have a much lower average income, lower wealth. So are we trying to solve this wealth differential? Or are we trying to solve or make recompense for the redlining and the systematic biases against loaning to African Americans? Or are we trying to make up for the fact that their ancestors 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 generations ago were taken forcibly from Africa and brought here? And all of those things are different, and all of them should be dealt with differently. If, just to give an example, let's say, for instance, we're trying to recompense people for their ancestors being forcibly taken from Africa, then I would say Fru probably should not be recompensed for that particular thing. In the same way that President Barack Obama should not be recompensed for that. Because as far as I know, their ancestors were not forcibly taken from Africa. If that's your purpose, then you really need to be careful and make sure the people you're recompensing had ancestors that were taken from Africa. Now, I'm not advocating any one of these positions, but we need to know the problem we're trying to solve before we just start throwing money around. And that's why, John, I don't know. I can't tell you. So here's another quote that I will read in just a second. I just want to point out I have ancestors from Sweden. My Swedish ancestors did not own slaves. I know this for a fact. I can trace them back to Sweden. They didn't own slaves. So let me read this quote. It wasn't just white people who owned slaves. The silliness of reparations is another reason
Not take Democrats seriously.
Not to take Democrats seriously. Sorry, it was cut off at the end of the screen. Yeah, of course, it wasn't just whites who owned slaves, but I think knowing why we want to do this and what problem we're trying to solve will lead us down a path that tells us
Give
what
Fru
to
the
do.
last word.
Well, but the truth of the matter is they don't want to listen to the people who are talking. When the people who are talking, those who are not involved, they just want not to discuss about it. You cannot solve a problem if you don't listen to the complainer.
Okay, well, we're about to go away. Fru, thank you very much. And the next time Bill's in, we'll take another look at what are the financial implications of this question.
We'll be
Have a
back in
good week.
45 seconds. Thanks.
Too, Fru.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to City Life Show. I'm Cliff Krieger, your host. My co-host Eileen Delrossi is phoning in from home here in Lowell, and then Mike Smith is phoning in from Florida, where the weather is probably a little warmer. We have Mike Smith with us from the University of Massachusetts Lowell, and of course we have our producer John McDonough. So I thought that it would be appropriate, since we're now up in Lowell, to talk about the fact that George George W. O'Hare Jr. passed away on Wednesday, 27 November, after a long illness. He was 87. I remember George O'Hare from Greater Lowell Technical High School school committee. He spent 26 years there. And I think that school committee's done a pretty good job. He also had time on the Lowell School Committee. He was 40 years with Verizon. He was a Marine. But I'd like to, at this moment, just honor George O'Hare because I thought he was a great Lowellian. Do you have any thoughts, Eileen?
Honestly, this is the first time I'm hearing about George O'Hare, but he did both the Greater Lowell Voc and the Lowell School Committee. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Oh, so he's like a Fred Bahu.
Yes.
Interesting. I didn't know there was one that. I always thought Fred Bahu was an original. I didn't think anyone else did that before.
Hey, Bill,
but
give him that
interesting.
one.
What years did he serve?
So, well, Fred Bahu is an original. It's just that George O'Hare got, I think, was a little ahead of him. So,
Eileen, I'm hearing their TV set. Or I'm hearing Mike's TV set.
do one of you have a TV on? Apparently.
I think it was the radio in the car, Sorry.
Oh, okay. All right, so you're coming over here.
No, she's driving Anthony to school.
Oh, you're driving? No.
Oh. No. My friend's driving, but I'm with them. Driving Anthony to school.
Okay.
So I'm in the car.
She's motoring Anthony to school
Okay.
with a friend who's driving.
So, I may be the only one in this group, but I was sorry to see the Walgreens right there on the town line between Tewksbury and Lowell closed last Thursday. And
For the whole day?
forever.
Which one?
Which forever? No.
Oh, Cliff, I'm not an idiot, and neither are you, okay? You know damn right well what the hell I'm talking about. I don't understand why you do this like flip thing. Turn the page. I no longer care. Do not answer my question. I no longer care.
I answered
Thank you.
your
That's the
question.
one. That's the one that used to be a Rite Aid, right? Right on Andover Street.
We've already turned the page, Eileen. We don't care anymore.
It's right by
Okay.
the airport, right by the golf course. There's like a T
Yeah.
right behind it.
Mike,
Oh, yeah, there.
Bill,
yes,
you want to read
yes,
these two?
Yes.
Send Kamala the bill. Her family owned slaves, and that's a fact. That's a strange statement considering she's an Indian and a Jamaican. If I'm not her father is Jamaican and her mother's Indian. I think
Yeah.
Depends on when you listen to her.
I think it's unlikely.
Depends on.
Wait, her
When you listen to
father was not genetically 100% African Jamaican.
Well, that raises the issue of what about African American slave women who are impregnated by their slave owning fathers? Do they have to then pay themselves if they're descended from that union?
DW has the best quote of the day.
Okay, I'll read this one. How about reparations for all women who are denied the right to vote? DW.
Good move.
So my ancestors
I'll take that check.
my ancestors were also denied the right to vote. Some of them certainly were not landowners. There have been lots of things that have occurred in the past that we should not be proud of as a society.
Yeah. But we still managed to move on. When my father, mother, and me left Western Pennsylvania, my father got a job in the naval shipyard, and because he was medically disqualified from serving, he needed to find a place for us to live. And he found this little town in South Jersey, and he's being interviewed by the landlord, Harry C. Vierick, who is also the mayor of the little town. Now, those of you who know me well know that I am really bad with names, that I would remember Harry C. Vierick.
Stretching the story.
I am. Anyway, so Mr. Vierick says to my father, "One last question, Mr. Krieger." And my father says, "Yes, sir." And he says, "Are you Catholic?" And my father, in a very Clinton-esque sort of way,
We didn't exist yet.
ignored the fact that my mother was Catholic and said, and he's a sort of a fallen away Methodist, he said, "No, I'm not, but why do you ask?" And Mr. Vierick says, "Well, it's not that we have anything against Democrats, it's just that they tend to vote, against Catholics, it's just they tend to vote Democrat." Now, there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 families with one or more Catholics in it in this town. Not very many. And except for one family which lived on the other side of the main drag. They all lived in the same quarter of town. So, yeah, we've had prejudice, but we've managed to work through it and do better.
This was down in New Jersey in the last century. Please proceed, Bill.
Yeah, not that long ago.
Come off it.
It's not that long ago.
Come off it.
Women only got the right to vote 100 years ago.
Turn the page. It's 2025.
Yeah, it is.
Well,
Were you around for 9/11, Bill? Were you alive yet?
Just barely.
Okay. And Cliff
That's
and I,
very nice of you.
Cliff is older than me, not by a heck of a lot, but we're old buckaroos. How old are you, Bill?
I'm 52.
52. So, a young whippersnapper.
the thing is that people have prejudices, they do dumb things, and they have been doing it for millennia. I mean, we don't talk very much about the conquest of Mexico by the Spanish, but Mexico City was taken down not just by the Spanish, but by a lot of Mexican tribes around what is now Mexico City, who were not too happy with the management before 1492. That management that engaged in human sacrifice, for instance. So I think we're always trying to do better, which is why it's good to know history. But that's just me.
Bill, you want to read this one?
Sure. My parents used to deny me ice cream back in the 70s. Can I get some dough, preferably cookie dough? LOL, Bart. Yeah, go ask your parents for some ice cream. Cookie dough ice cream.
Yeah.
I mean, this is, in a sense, this is the tricky part about reparations, particularly for things that happened a long time ago. If I do something that hurts Cliff now, he can seek reparations for me directly. That's what the court systems are for. It's much trickier when it's Cliff's great-grandfather that was wronged by my great-grandfather. It's just not that simple
Well,
anymore.
Bill, you're 52. In your lifetime, do you think we'll see reparations?
No.
Okay. And I would say turn the page. That said, turn the page.
The reason to think about reparations,
It's never coming, Cliff.
and here is where I don't think it can be done,
Let's raise the Titanic and
is
sail it again.
it would be very nice if we could make the whole issue go away and we could all become just Americans.
Cliff, it reminds me of the senior center. I'm sitting over the Lowell Senior Center. I'm sitting with this gal, a friend of mine, who can't be pleased. And I tell her right to her face, you can't be pleased. She's complaining about everything. She says, and I took this to heart. The table we're sitting on didn't have a tablecloth on it. It was just a table. And she said, these tables should have tablecloths. I says, if they had a tablecloth, you would bitch it should be satin. It shouldn't be plastic. It should be a satin tablecloth, and it should be ironed with no wrinkles in it. And it should be white. And it should have like a velvety top. And I said, Mabel, you can't be pleased. And so when you go to reparations, okay, Cliff says 10 grand, just for round figures. Fru, who's signed off, he'll be back next Monday, said, that's an insult. 25,000 is an insult. I'm saying it should be $1 million per slave. And I'm sure once you get the $1 million, you go like, no, it should be $100 million. So at what point are reparations going to be paid in full? Never. They can't be made happy.
So this is precisely why I think it's critical to understand what is the purpose of reparations. Is it to compensate for differential economic outcomes? Is it to compensate for redlining and systematic biases? Is it to compensate for ancestors having been taken as slaves? Those are three very different things, and there are other reasons. By the way, I want to acknowledge all three of those things are things that we should not be proud of, right? Those are things that we need to acknowledge were certainly the latter two were problematic in our history and wrong unequivocally, and we can never recompense the people who were directly impacted by that. Most of them are dead, if not all of them. But certainly everyone who was ever held as a slave in the United States is now long dead. We can never recompense the people who were wronged directly, but their ancestors are still bearing some of the
Well,
consequences.
then we have to move into this century and say, for those who are suffering working for minimum wage,
$50 by doing this. My friends laughed at me when I spent $49 on a power saver device that
I don't know what's going on over there. But those people working for minimum wage, shouldn't we be paying them $20 an hour? Just to make up for that minimum wage? In Massachusetts, shouldn't we be making up that wage?
I'm not
So
sure
they
I
have a living
understand.
wage? That's where it's gonna go next. And that's why I always like to ask Bill about teaching personal finance in school.
So I will tell you, we're in the process now in the curriculum of incorporating into the undergraduate curriculum in the business school personal finance as a required class for all undergraduates.
Fantastic.
So you'll be happy to know that.
Fantastic. I'm glad we're growing something out of this. I just have to get Liam Skinner on the ball here.
Well, Maura Healy's
I don't
task
care.
force.
Nice woman.
You
but-
don't know Maura Healy? Yeah.
Do you know him? How do you know Mara?
We shook hands down on Beacon Hill one day.
Would she recognize if she's white?
No,
Okay.
but it sticks in my mind. In fact, I was down on Beacon Hill with you.
Yes.
So anyway,
I met the governor. She's a lovely woman. She wouldn't remember me at all, but she's a lovely woman.
Her task force on graduation requirements includes saying that we need to be teaching personal finance. So,
We need to pay reparations. We need to co-pay those people who are making minimum wage up to $20. We need these things.
why do we need to pay those making minimum wage?
So they get a living wage.
So you don't think the minimum wage is a living wage?
Correct.
Okay. So, Bill, what is your sense of young freshmen from Lowell High School coming in? Do they know how to read, write, and calculate?
I don't know that I could tell you which of my students are from Lowell High School. Of course, I teach mostly juniors and seniors, so they've gone through the first couple of years at UMass Lowell before I see them. I know I could speak more generally that it seems like our high school students are not as capable as they were at one point. And I think that's problematic. But I also know that they're, particularly now with the students who went through COVID, I think that's a problem for them, and that has really handicapped a cohort of students.
But was it, when we say that, are we saying it wasn't COVID, it was the lockdown that's the problem, right?
Well, I use COVID as during this time period, there were students who were learning from home or doing other things.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in rehashing whether we should have, we did. So those students were affected in a way that affected their learning, and I think they're in a different state than students before them, or hopefully after them will be. I think those students lost a year of what I would say is vital education.
Cliff, jumping back
Do
to
you
what
think we
minimum
can
wage
get
for a second.
reparations for COVID? I think we should.
From whom? From
the
the
government,
virus itself?
because it was essentially a government scare.
But who are we going to get reparations from? The virus? Or from the country
Dr.
of
Fauci.
China? Oh, from Dr. Fauci. Sue him. You could sue him. You're welcome to sue him and see if you can win that case.
Bill, I just want to grab the attention of the audience. Minimum wage in Massachusetts is $15. Step over the border to New Hampshire, it's $7.25. Gigantic difference in minimum wage. Back to you, Cliff.
There's the minimum wage is a problem. I think that it's a problem coupled with part-time work. I've got a grandson who does not have a 40-hour-a-week job, and therefore he doesn't make enough money that he could afford an apartment in Lowell, Massachusetts, which is running, what, about $1,700 a month? So,
And that's on the cheaper end.
That's
Yeah.
no cable TV, no utilities.
so there's a problem, I think, in how are we going to keep workers unless they're just living with their parents. Now, I remember living with your parents brings to mind my time in Naples, Italy area. One Sunday I took the family out because there's this big, wide drive park, a big ellipse that looked out over the Mediterranean. Beautiful. So, Sunday afternoon, I take my wife and 3 kids down there to show them this beautiful view, and it's cluttered with cars with newspapers in the window. It turns out, because I asked a couple questions, these are married couples living with one of the other parents. And this is how they get some private time. Is they go out and park put newspapers up in the window. I don't think that's a good economic situation. But I defer to the professor.
So we do have a housing issue. There is not sufficient affordable housing in certainly in this area. I can't comment on, maybe if you go out to Adams, Massachusetts, there's more housing. But certainly in this area of the state, there's insufficient housing at the prices that people can afford to pay. It creates a lot of stress for families and a lot of difficulty. Of course, part of the reason why wages are high is because cost of living is high, and cost of living is high because there's not enough housing. So these are all tied together. There's no easy fix to this. I think, you think there is an easy fix? Okay. Interested to hear your easy fix. I think it's going to take a lot of very deliberate and hard decisions. I think towns need to liberalize a bit the way they do zoning and those kinds of things, but I don't think there's an easy fix. But I'm happy to hear there is an easy fix, and I'll let you tell me what it is.
I think that the governor and the legislature needs to create a building opportunity, sort of like Levittown, Long Island, or Levittown, Pennsylvania, or Levittown, New Jersey, where you take a big area and you throw down slabs and build very inexpensive houses. Now, my experience is from 1956 or so. Houses were running for like $11,500. But they were basic houses, no fancy frills, no variations. Everybody's walls were all painted the same. So it was mass production. So we find a place outside of 495 where they can throw down 10,000 houses, inexpensive houses. And the state...
Where do you get those?
Where do you get what?
Where do you get an inexpensive house? Where do you get those? Where do you find a toilet that's 15 cents? Where do you get roofing material that's 15 cents? Where do you get a cheap house?
You don't get one for 15 cents, but everybody has the same toilet.
Everybody has the what?
The same toilet.
No, they don't. You've been to my sister's house? Unfreaking believable. The beautiful toilet she has over there, it's amazing.
But if you want to have cheap houses,
You standardize.
yeah,
She lives out in Charming Jumpstead. Oh my God, you go into her bathroom, it's like, wow, this is neat.
well, you will not have inexpensive housing then. But if
So
Maury
do they get a
Hills,
shower or a bathtub, Cliff?
yeah, both. Get
So
a bathtub with a
You
shower.
want 2 bathrooms now?
No. A shower with your tub.
Oh,
I would say what, you're talking about a 2-bedroom, like the housing, I mean, if you look at the housing they built from 1938 to 1946 to 1950, the post-war housing, 2-bedroom houses, some of them were pseudo capes, pseudo ranches, I don't know, bungalow style or something,
Yeah.
but small houses for all these people coming back from the veterans from World War II who just wanted to start a family and have, those are the kinds of houses you're talking
Yeah.
about,
Right.
right? 2-bedroom,
I'd say even 3.
yeah, the cost goes up.
Yeah, exactly. But for instance, in the house we lived in Vermilion Hills, there was a living room, there was a kitchen, sort of dinette place, 2 rooms.
What year was this?
56.
okay.
And upstairs there was a master bedroom and just a large room in a bathroom. But
So I don't know
It
what
wasn't made
that house
fancy.
costs. Maybe the materials for that, is that a 200,000? Not the lot, not the siding and everything.
Yeah.
Just the building, is that 200,000? It's gotta be, especially 2-story. It's
Yeah.
probably more than that, but I don't know.
it's all prefab.
Yeah.
I got 2 here for you.
Sure. I bet if you had a course in school on video gaming, every student would ace the class. But if you're a public defender in Massachusetts, you get paid 30% more in New Hampshire. How does that even make sense?
Good point. I'm gonna do the announcements now,
Okay.
All right.
and let's do this guy. There's not a lot of them. Thank God we have senior lunches. Here we go, all right. Wait a second, they didn't all open, we got more. Why they're not all opening, I don't know. We will get them to open, no worries, man. Here we go, okay. Here's our senior lunch program. Look, if you got $2, you can have lunch at your favorite senior center. Here's how it works. Your favorite senior center can be any one in the country. You can get on a Timbuktu and walk into their senior center, they gotta give you lunch. It's a federally paid for program, so you can go to lunch in Chelmsford, Drake, Lowell, you can go to lunch Tewksbury, wherever you want. Today is Monday, December 8th. So the Lowell Senior Center has chicken a la king with rice. And so if you get over there around 10:30, go see Tara, she'll give you a ticket, then you go into what's called the Great Room, and there's a box in there, you can make a donation if you want to. If you don't have a donation, well, your lunch is gonna be free. So today is the 9th, so this is happening out in Tewksbury and Drake. Now, Tewksbury and Drake, they'll be happy to provide you senior lunch, but you gotta sign up for it a week early. So if you wanna have lunch and you didn't sign up today, you're not gonna get it. What you need to do is call the senior center and register for lunch, and they'll be happy to provide it for you, but you gotta register a week early. So today, at the Draker Senior Center and Tewksbury Senior Center, they're having Monday, the 8th, and they're having beef fajitas, seasoned sliced beef, red green peppers, onions, rice, and black beans, tortilla, and a fruit cup. Sounds yummy. Out in charming Chelmsford, they want you to sign up a week early too, but they'll take care of you anyway. A great place to go. The the Chelmsford Senior, they're all great places to go. The Senior Center in Chelmsford, they'll have chicken parmesan over pasta, mixed vegetables, and pears. That's today's. Now we got Mr. Announcements to go to here. Pints for a Purpose. This is coming up this Saturday, the December 13th, 12 to 4 p.m. at the Old Court, 29 Central Street in lovely Lowell, Massachusetts. Donations going to go to the Sun Santa Fund, and hosted by Danny Rourke, Chris Dick, and Danielle McFadden. There's a QR code here if you want to take your fancy phone and put it in camera mode on this. It'll give you some more information about this. And I thought Rodney had a party coming, but I guess it didn't pick it up. We'll talk about Rodney's party. Let me close this. There's Rodney right there. The party might be tomorrow. It's coming up soon. Okay, here's Rodney's party. And I don't know why it's not coming up today, but there she is. Rodney's having a party. Please join us for the campaign kickoff party for Rodney Elliott for State Senate, Thursday, December 11th, 5:30 to 7 p.m. at the Worthen House Cafe, downtown Lowell, 141 Worthen Street in lovely Lowell, Massachusetts. Love to see you down there. Those are all my announcements. Cliff, back over to you. Thank you for your patience.
Okay. So, I think I mentioned Friday, property assessments are out. You can go to the city's webpage and check what your property is valued at for tax purposes. Too much. So, I mean, I was kind of...
Should we have reparations on property taxes?
I don't know. I think that might be good. Let's see. So I thought I'd ask Bill about this from a financial point of view. Alarming trend among high school senior females interested in marriage is plummeting at stunning rates. Can we sustain the population if people are not getting married and having children?
So the first thing I think we need to be a little careful about getting too worried about things that we don't have a lot of knowledge about. And the reason I'm saying this is we don't know what this means, in part because we've never had a situation like this before. I think it's fair to be concerned about it. The U.S. has barely enough birth rate to replace our population. So that means if we want growth, we would want to have immigration in order to increase our population.
Make babies.
What's that?
Make babies.
Well, there are many financial and preferential reasons people are just deciding they don't want to have children or they want to have fewer children.
It's called American greed.
No, I mean, individuals can make their own choices, and I think that's fair for them to make their own choices.
If you're going to get married, the top decision should be you're getting married to have kids. How many kids you want to have?
So I think that's your opinion. I think individuals can make their own choices. People can decide, I would like to get married but not have children. I don't think that's an unacceptable choice.
If I wasn't going to have kids, I would never get married.
But that's your choice. If you
what's the logic in getting married?
Companionship, to have someone to spend your life with. There's lots of reasons to get married.
It's a 50-50 shot. It's going to work.
Okay.
It's becoming like 55% it's going to work.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, all marriages end either in divorce or death. So
Life ends at death for 100%.
well,
the time.
you can't say that. That's just so
can.
far. Just so
can.
far, they've all ended
When
in
I
death.
go to work, honest to God, everybody over there is dead. So
Well, so far.
we talked about that before the show started. The
We did.
cremation issue.
We did.
We have these certain amount of people out there. They're afraid that they're not going to be dead, and they're going to wake up after they've been buried or cremated. And I tell those people, just tell the undertaker to embalm you. If you're embalmed, there's a guarantee you're never waking up if you're embalmed. And I think Bill kind of agreed with that.
Yeah, so I think individuals can make their own choices, and they should, but Cliff is right to say it has implications for society, but we need to be very careful about saying, well, people should do this or they should do that. I think in society we need to, maybe a good approach would be to make it financially easier to have children or more attractive to have children. And I think those kinds of things are a better way to give people, make childcare easier and more affordable. There are many people who don't want to have children because they can't afford childcare for those children. So I think those are the kinds of things that in society we can do. I think we do have to be concerned somewhat in that society will change. If we go from a society that's growing in population to holding steady or even declining, that's going to change the economics. It's going to change a lot of things. A lot of the way that society is built is based on the idea that the population is going to grow at a modest, 1 to 2 to 3% every year. And if we have fewer people getting married and fewer people having children, that will change. Now you can adjust that by having more immigrants, but that seems to be a very tricky issue right now as well. The funny thing is the politicians saying that they really don't want immigration are also the same politicians that they want more children. And those things are sort of in conflict. Immigrants tend to have more children than people born in the United States. So if you want more children, one way to do it is to increase immigration.
Well, that's true. We're not the only one, though, the magic number is 2.1 children per woman. And Japan's not making that number.
No, actually, in Asia in general, in terms of in China, Japan, South Korea,
Yep.
Many of these countries have a severe shortage of replacement rate. They're much below the 2.1 rate. And in addition, these countries, China, Japan, and South Korea, have very low immigration rates. So you're talking about societies that they can't even allow more immigrants in order to get more population. So I think it's pretty clear that these are places that are, China's the extreme case. China's going to have a population decline. I mean, it's almost inevitable. I think Japan is in the same case as well. But I think in terms of geo-global political influence, I think China is a bigger concern in what that will mean going forward.
So, you reach age 65, 67, you want to retire. If you're going to collect Social Security, you need to have children who went off to work, pay Social Security tax. Otherwise, the system won't work, I don't think.
Yeah.
I got a couple of things that are clogged.
Well, that's why you have
Message here.
immigration. That's why you have new people coming into the country. And that's how you keep the system working like that. But unfortunately, right now, like you're saying, you're not having enough replacement people. So that's why you need to have immigration. And 65 or retiring, that's kind of that's changing. Because even now, for Social Security, the full retirement age is like 66 or 67. So people they may be working at a job until they're 65 or 66, and then they find other things to do different from that job.
Yeah, good point. John, you had something?
The text that came through, I'm going to put them up on the screen
Okay.
because people think I make them up. That's okay.
Do people think you make them up?
Yep, you
That
made
makes
that
you
text
pre-
up. No, I didn't.
That makes you pretty creative.
Well,
Oh,
we lost it.
yeah, it was there a second ago. I couldn't read it
It's
fast
coming
enough.
back.
Okay, so a viewer writes in, kids don't want to sacrifice themselves. The kids nowadays are selfish and only care about living in the parents' basement. We all wanted independence. Jay. And then another viewer writes, never say never in Massachusetts. Everything we thought wouldn't happen has happened thanks to the way our senators and state reps vote.
Thank you for your comments.
Yep. Well, that brings up there's an editorial in, and I don't remember if it was the Lowell Sun or if it was the Boston Globe.
Boston Globe.
Okay.
It's number 10. I'll read the quote from the Boston Globe. Quote, people have written off the legislature as a place to enact meaningful policy.
Yeah. And that's interesting to me that the politicians, I don't think, are seeing the signs. I mean, it's not like there's a Republican resurgence, but there is sort of this sense on the part of a lot of people that the legislature is not responsive to the people.
Cliff, they have a theme song. We don't care, we don't care, we don't care. Where's the audit?
So this leads to the point that there have been over 40 questions put on the ballot.
Yeah.
So people are sort of going around the legislature and trying to vote on things.
It won't become law. They're wasting their breath.
Doesn't
You
it
have to
become
vote
law
the
if it's a
people who are
ballot
in.
issue? A ballot initiative becomes law. Yeah.
If
So-
we vote for it.
Yeah, if it passes the initiative. Now, I would point out, I had a
Who's gonna-
discussion.
What Gestapo is going to enforce this law? Like,
It will become law.
like the law to drive 65 on 495? What Gestapo is enforcing that law?
So I had a discussion with someone who wanted to cap rental rates, and he asked me to vote in order to put on the ballot an initiative to put a cap on rental rates. And I pointed out to him that if you cap rental rates, then people don't want to build apartments. And he said, yeah, but it has to be done correctly. And I said, yes, I know it has to be done correctly. This is why we have legislatures to pass laws, to read carefully, and to make sure things are done correctly. And I expressed my concern. I wish I could remember this man's name, but he asked me to sign his ballot initiative to put these caps on rental units on the ballot. I said, people don't read and understand all the details, and the purpose of legislatures is to read and formulate laws that are carefully considered. And he said, yeah, but the legislature, echoing what you said, they don't do their job. They're not passing important laws that we need to have. I think it's a very cynical view. I'm not saying I disagree with it. I would like legislature to do its job. But I also am concerned when you start putting ballot measures on, then you get ballots that say we should spend more, ballot measures that say we should spend more on schooling and we should cut taxes, and both of them pass. And, you know, they need to be considered together, all of these things. So I think legislatures is certainly a better way to pass laws.
Will you read this?
Sure. The housing crisis got worse when we started inviting the tax takers into the state. Massachusetts has too many building regulations. So yeah, I think this is sort of echoing what I said about how zoning laws, and it's related to what Cliff said as well. I don't see any town signing up to have this great big Levittown twin, around 495. But it is a way forward.
I have a question on these ballot initiatives in Massachusetts. Is it a simple majority to get them initiated, or do you have to have like 2/3 of the voters approve it in order for it to be initiated?
Well, I think it's majority, simple majority, but it's a process. You have to gather a lot of signatures. It has to go through the legislature, then it goes on the ballot.
Yeah, unfortunately, I mean, I saw it in New York. The problem with the legislature not getting anything done is I see with politicians more and more nowadays, they have to think about always running for office again every 2 years or every 4 years or whatever. But they're concerned about the donors. So when they get money from donors, because there's basically no, restrictions on donors like there used to be, that's who they're emboldened to give favors to. And so the voters get kind of left out in the cold. When you got people donating money that's in contrast to what the voters really want. And I don't know how to fix that, but, you're seeing more and more major corporations and that having influence more and more on what's going on in the legislatures, whether it's Massachusetts or New York, and the people are kind of left out in the cold because the politicians' first goal is not necessarily to help us, is to get reelected, to stay in office. So they do that by getting donations to help them and people that have leverage for them. And it's not always in the best interest of the voters in that area, unfortunately.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of legislatures, Eileen, how is the superintendent doing getting more money?
I'm sorry, how is what?
How is the superintendent doing getting the money that the school system needs? You were a couple million down, as I recall.
Yeah, I mean, he did good. He went and spoke, and we were $4 million down, and then got $2 million. But still, I mean, I don't know. There are so many different variables in play. Nothing's a simple answer, and it gets convoluted. Then the city owns the buildings versus the school maintenance. It's a hot mess. But on a side note, I know how Mike was talking about a big happening over in Florida. So I just recently found this new app on your phone. It's called Crime Radar. And if you get the app, you can see what's going on around you in Lowell. It's very good, and when I feel down, I really enjoy looking at the Crime Radar app, and it makes me happy. Well, it makes me feel fortunate.
Ah. Okay, we have a comment.
That's a question from Mike.
Yeah, so a viewer wrote in, Mike, and said, is the cold weather going to make it all the way down to Mike's neck of the woods? So Mike's in the Tampa area.
Probably not right now. I've found that usually when we get to January, that's when we start having some of the cooler weather. But this time in December, 70 today in the 70s. I mean, it's got to get down to around like 60 to be considered cool down here. And during the day, once the sun comes out, even in the mid-60s, once the sun comes out down here, it's warm. So it's all relative what's cold, as far as weather. But we don't have any snow, so we don't have to scrape our cars off or anything like that. So that is an advantage. And we do get sun most days.
Yeah.
So you're roughing it down there.
Some days, we did have a couple cold days. I was at a soccer tournament Thanksgiving weekend, and it was down in the high 40s early in the morning. And I had an early game at 8 in the morning at Disney. And the side I was on there was no sun on that side at the stadium. So it was definitely cold. It was under 50. But then an hour later when the sun came out, everybody went back to short sleeves because now it got up in the 70s. So it's just, once the sun comes out down here, it warms up pretty quickly.
So another viewer has written in and said, Democrats have run the state since 1959. They have destroyed this state.
Well, that's a little...
Well, I'm not from Massachusetts, but I am from New York, so we're in the same unfortunate situation in New York when I lived up there. The Democrats run the whole state basically on the state level. So there's, I think it's not good to have a diversity of views. And, New York was running better when the House was run by the Democrats and the Senate was run by the Republicans. So they had to work things out or else nothing would ever get done. And when you have one party running everything in the state, I mean, even in Massachusetts, you don't have any Republican Congress people, from what I saw. So, and I believe both your senators are Democrats too. You tend to lose view of what other people are thinking or want because you're only focused in on your own party and your own views. And that's not always the best thing for everybody.
Yeah, we're pretty well gerrymandered so that the Democrats win the federal offices here. It's the way it is. Eileen, back to the school. I'm figuring to make up the $4 million we're short, would have to increase taxes about $133 a taxpayer. You think that'd be very popular?
No, I do not think so. But I don't even. I have no more words on this. I guess it's like beating our heads against the wall. And just do what's right for the kids, right? And do what's right for the health and safety for the kids at the end of the day, both city and school side, and be transparent and be honest about what's happening. And I think that's important, but it's never a clear answer. And so I don't know.
So has anybody looked at the school staff? What is it, 100 people now? Back when it was...
Administration.
Yeah.
Staff includes teachers.
That's a cultural difference there. Back when Wayne Peters was the superintendent, it was like 5 people. If they eliminate the Department of Education, how many people in the administration can we make go away and turn that into teacher salaries? Has anybody thought about that?
Well, I'm always advocating for more teachers in the classroom, more forward-facing staff. I don't know, because of the federal Department of Education, we do need a finance department because of the level of heavy grants and so forth, which probably did not exist so much when Wayne Peters was he a superintendent?
Yep.
Superintendent. And so with red tape, you need more employees to make sure you're abiding by that red tape.
Yeah.
So it gets, I mean, it's one hand washes the other, and ultimately at the end of the day, I just feel like between federal, state, and local government, somehow our kids are slipping through our fingers, and they're not getting what they truly need and deserve. But I'm going to still use my little squeaky voice and advocate and do what I need to do on my part and bring awareness. But we have no control over anything besides the superintendent. We can bring things up, we can bring them to the table, but at the end of the day, the superintendent and the administration are who's running the day-to-day activities, as is the city manager, and the city manager's staff are running the city side. So I'm sorry, that's not a very good answer. I don't have a good answer.
You could ask the superintendent to seek employment elsewhere.
But what good does that do? Look at the history over time. We've asked so many superintendents to seek employment elsewhere, and then there's still a learning gauge and a curve. You know what I mean? It just doesn't make sense at this point.
Yep.
But, too much change is not good. We change curriculums, we change tests, we change superintendents. Where's the consistency to assure that we are doing what's best for every student in Lowell? And sometimes we just have to bite the bullet and trust in somebody. And if Liam Skinner is that person right now, then we need to continue to trust him and give him constructive feedback in order to be able to make it better. At the same time, a lot of people thought I was brutal on my evaluation, but it's not that. If Liam Skinner is working hard, and I know he is, and if he's trying to do what's right and he's hard on himself, then he needs to know what I'm hearing from my constituents to make it better, because I live in a different land in Centerville, and it's a different population. So why wouldn't I share that as much as possible so he can get better? You know what I mean? If I didn't think somebody could get better, why would I put the effort into making the comments and giving the ratings that I did?
Yep. That makes sense. Good, Bill.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, if you know that this superintendent created all these problems, then I think by all means it's fine to want to change the superintendent. But I don't think that's the case. I think it's a tough hand in terms of what the city is dealing with in the school district, and I think the superintendent needs to work hard, and I think criticizing and providing feedback is useful, and just know that everybody's pulling in the same direction and wanting to improve schools with the resources we have. I would also point out it's probably challenging, since the federal government is changing its apparent views on will the Department of Ed exist at all and those kinds of things. It makes it very challenging at the local level to know what funding is going to be going forward. So there's a complicating issue with the federal policy toward DOE as well.
Yeah. We get a lot of money from the feds, Eileen?
Well, usually that's where a lot of the federal grants are coming from that funds a lot of the schools. So with the deletion of the federal Department of Education, maybe we will see less staff at Central for the finance and the grants piece, because now where are we going to get those grants? Is it going to be the state? And that needs to be clarified so the Department of Education knows what its new direction is.
We're coming up on $18,000 per student. How much more of the taxpayer money do they want?
Well, and that's what it comes down to, is that we have the funds, and the breakdown of where it looks like all the money goes to is getting distributed in different places, and not every one student. Is it for fair student funding, which we see often when the budget comes out, the fair student funding? That's not always equitable per every student, right? Every student gets their own fair student funding, and a portion goes to salaries, a portion goes to curriculum, a portion goes to specialists, A portion goes to free and reduced lunch. It depending on the student and the student needs, it's supposed to be equitable, but I don't know how it is equitable.
Yeah.
Up on the screen, you're looking at, Bill, you want to read that?
Sure. There's a photo. This is actually of my street. Can I show Dr. Bill a pic of Talbot Street in 2013? Hopefully it won't be this bad. So this is looking right up my street, up the hill. You can't see my house, though.
Last text of the day.
Did Mike enjoy seeing all the snow during the Buffalo game yesterday?
Oh, well, we're Bills fans, so I'm waiting for the heart attack to come on one of these games, because we never know how they're going to play with defense, or offense. We never know which team is going to show up. But, yeah, I saw all the snow, and I said, great for them, but I was sitting inside where it was nice and warm and watching it on TV and then looking outside. So it was nice and warm here. Before I forget, I just mentioned that today... It's the day to do it.
I wish Duncan still did brownies. Oh, well. Thank you all very much for tuning in. Thanks, Bill, for coming in. And I hope that the next time you're in on a Monday, you and Fru and I in the first hour could talk a little bit more about the financial implications of reparations. Yes. It's tough. Okie doke. Bye bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.
We will see you all next Monday then. Okay?